Hey guys, you're through to the Dyslexic Entrepreneur once again. Thank you very much for joining me today. My video today is on getting paid by your customers and getting paid on time and why it matters. So it's just a couple of tips for you. What I'm also doing is I'm going to do a longer video than this, which goes into these tips a little bit more in depth. But I'm just going to quickly run through kind of just like the real basics of it. All right, just kind of see what you guys think of it. But why does it matter getting paid on time? All right, like it might sound like a stupid question, but like it could quite literally be the difference between you paying your fucking rent or your mortgage or being like broke. Do you know what I mean? It's like there's been situations with myself where it's had such a knock-on effect that I haven't been paid on time for a customer. So I've really struggled paying staff wages, or I've really struggled to pay material bill but like that I owe, and it's just then makes me look really unprofessional as a business owner and leader. So it's really super important. Just an added kind of thing onto that is that as dyslexics we can get a little bit spaghetti brained about this, kind of like, oh yeah, it doesn't matter, we'll do it next week. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Like we can't. You just cannot be like that with this situation. If you are meant to be getting paid on the 15th, you have to get paid on the 15th. It's very important. All right. So I'm just going to quickly go through some tips for you. Okay. Actually, on that note, go back if you haven't already seen it. Go back and have a look on my video on invoicing, because that also ties into this, and it's I think it's a very helpful way of like staying on track of things and making sure you are getting paid when you're supposed to get paid. All right, but this is kind of more of a video of why it's very important and some tips for dealing with customers as well. So my first tip for you is kind of know your customer. I mean, like if you're like an entrepreneur or a business owner who sells like, I don't know, headphones for example, and you're selling like hundreds of the units like a week or a month or something, it's going to be a little bit different for you. All right, because you usually get paid up front and stuff. But we work in construction. The like one of my businesses, as I keep always telling you guys, is building shepherd's huts, and that is quite a it is a product, but it's also a service. So what I tend to do is I get to know the customers quite well and quite in depth during the quoting phase, and just kind of like having a little bit of a feeling out process, like making sure that we're actually going to be a good fit. I've actually previously kind of turned down people where I just don't think that our company is a good fit for them. So don't always go for just the money, right? Because sometimes it can turn around to boot you in the arse. Okay, but get to know your customer, and get to know what they're like. All right, get to know if they're dyslexic. Get to know if they're a bit flappy with money or if they're a bit airy fairy. Because it will pay dividends later on. Okay. If they're a company, what I'd recommend is Google them, have a look to see if they've got any ratings that say paid late, didn't pay at all, very late in paying, like all those kinds of things. So if they're a company, Google them and see what you can find out. All right. If that is the case, but you still want to go ahead and do business with them, do it. But you just got to bring it up with them. Just say like, look, I've read the reviews X, Y, and Z. Explain yourself. And if they're not willing to explain themselves, sack them off. Okay. Two, talk to them about budget real quick. All right. You need to sort the wheat from the chaff. Talk to them about budget. If they don't have the budget to the product, sack them off. Move on. There's no point in wasting your time. All right. When I was first starting off, I used to waste my time with people all the time with budgets. Going through, people would want huts or building work done. I'd go around, I'd work my absolute fucking ass off trying to like get the business, and then they turn around and they were like $5,000 under budget, and it was just like a complete waste of my time. So that's my second tip. My second tip is get a budget. All right, make sure you've got a bit of information on a budget. My third tip is to always have a scope of work or a contract drawn up. Okay, I can go into that into more detail in the other video where I expand on this, but always have a scope of work or a contract drawn up with payment agreements put in there, and you make sure you have them sign it and agree to it. Okay. Understand how, sorry, number 4 is understand how they're going to pay. Are they going to pay with cash? Are they going to pay with check? Are they going to pay with bank transfer? Are they going to pay with Bitcoin? Are they going to pay with gold? Like, whatever it is they're going to pay with, make sure you know, okay? Because it's a really bad situation on a Friday. If you got like a staff bill to pay, you're expecting a bank transfer, they turn up with a check. It's like, shit, right, gotta make, and then you're in a position where you're like, fuck, I've got to make something work here, alright? So far, all of our customers have been really, really good. So I can't fault any of our customers, alright? So far, anyway. So that's kind of my 4th quick tip. Again, I go more into this in the other videos. Invoice, or for us it's invoicing, but like it'd be invoicing for you as well, but invoice the second the work's done, alright? The second that the money is kind of your end of the bargain's done, send off that invoice, okay? Because if you do it, say like 4 days later, they've kind of they could turn around and say, well, we paid you 4 days later. So don't ever give them that option. Just always make sure that you get the invoice out, bosh, done, okay? Also makes you feel good, because it makes you feel like, right, my bit of this is done. It's up to you now. Okay, so 6, make getting paid easy, alright? So ask them how they want to pay, alright? Because again, it's that communication. So like, but make it easy, right? So if they want to pay via PayPal, make sure you can accept PayPal. There's charges and stuff you've got to figure out. If they want to pay via credit card, make sure that it's easy to pay via credit card. If they want to pay with Bitcoin, make sure that you can somehow really accept Bitcoin and get your head around that. If they want to pay in gold coins, figure that one out. But just what I'm getting at is make it easy for the customer to pay in the method that they want to pay, alright? My 7th tip is chase these fucking assholes who don't pay really, really quickly, alright? Be on them so quick, okay? Because it can just go on and on and on and on, and it's not pretty, okay? I'm not going to go into personal experience about customers. I don't think it's particularly fair. All of our customers have generally been pretty good. But you do need to chase. If you're expecting money on a Friday and you haven't heard from them on the Monday, you need to get on them, okay, straight away. I'm just going to add a little caveat into that as well. So a little tip 8 is, what I do is I tee people up like a week before the payment's due. It's a good way. Like if the flip reversed and it was me owing money to someone else, I'd quite like this done to me as well. So on the Monday, send them an email, message, however you communicated with them, and just say, hey guys, look, we're looking at finishing on Friday. This amount is due. I hope you're good to pay it. If you've got any issues, please just let us know so we can work around them, alright? Give them that option as well, because there's nothing worse than if you owe someone money and you haven't got it and you're sat there shitting yourself thinking, fuck, I owe someone a lot of money and I don't know how to deal with it. Give them an out, okay? Because it's better that you know as a business owner that they don't have the money. Because if you've, again, I keep going back to this, but if you've got a staff wages bill due on Friday and they don't tell you that they don't have the money, you at least, if they told you on the Monday, you can then sort things out. You can speak to your staff. You can say to your staff, look, I'm really sorry, I can pay you half your wages, you can get your half on Monday, blah blah blah. It's whatever arrangement you've got. My staff are absolutely fucking fantastic. Like, they know that if a customer is going to be a couple of days late and we do have potentially some issues, what I've done previously is I've paid sort of 3/4 of their wages, and then on the Monday when the rest of the money comes in, I transfer the rest over. So my staff are absolutely fantastic with things like that. That's another thing. Speak to your staff. Explain situations to your staff, alright? Because if you don't, they probably just think you're the one who's being a knob, alright? They probably just think that you just haven't bothered paying them, alright? So just another little tip there. Just make sure you speak to your staff and explain the situation to them. My eighth tip is you need a contingency plan. Kind of what I was just saying then. You need a contingency plan, right? If they don't pay, what the fuck are you gonna do? Okay, are you gonna dip into your overdraft? Are you gonna take out a loan if you have other payments to do? Are you lucky that it's the middle of the month and nothing's owed? But you need to have a contingency plan for every, like, I'm using us as an example, but we deal with quite, I'm not trying to say like we're big ballers, but like we deal with quite large sums of money in chunks, right? And we used to anyway when we did, like 20%, 40%, 40%. We now take whole payments, but we do that again for certain customers. But you need a contingency plan, all right? If they're not going to pay, how are you going to pay your bills? How are you going to pay your mortgage? Is it the bank of mum and dad? Is it a loan? Is it the overdraft? Have a contingency plan, all right? And yeah, and then the latter end of that is how are you going to deal with that customer? Are you going to then have to turn around and say, right, you owe us an extra 10% because I've had to do X, Y, and Z? Are you then going to, like, it's up to you. You need to think about that, but you need to then realise how you're going to deal with that customer afterwards, because they've signed a contract because you got them to sign a contract. They've not agreed to that contract and they've broken that contract. What do you want to do? Do you want to then sell their product to someone else? What do you want to do? You need to figure that out. But contingency plan, guys. Contingency plan. You've got to have a plan fucking B. The amount of times I've not had a plan B and somehow it's just worked out, but there's been a couple of times where I've been fucking shitting myself and it's not fun. So, that's my really, really quick video to run through. Like I said, I'm going to go through it in more detail for people who want a bit more information, who want to watch a bit longer videos. I know we're on like nearly 12 minutes now, but I thought I'd just run through those tips on basically dealing with customers, why getting paid on time is important, so you can pay your bills, so you can make projections. Like, it can fuck up projections, especially if you're like a bigger company. It can really mess with projections and like figuring out like what your budgets are for like the next coming weeks and months. But just as a general sort of rule of life, getting paid on time is something that needs to happen. And as entrepreneurs, as businessmen, and as tradesmen as well, because we're kind of in that, for tradesmen it happens all the time. You wouldn't believe the amount of people who don't pay tradesmen on time. It's unbelievably unfair. But anyway, that's my tips and my advice. Please like and subscribe. I'm on Instagram. Please follow me. It's Dyslexic_entrepreneur. If you guys got any videos you want me to do in particular, just hit me up and let me know, alright? But I hope you guys are doing cool, and I'll catch you soon, alright? Get your money, boo-boo.